Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, watch him, watch him, watch him. Jam it!
Oh, yo!
Get ready. Dude, more heads up in that. Jeez!
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yes! Yes! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Room behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
Indycar. The in and out lap. What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. He hit me. Inside, inside, outside, inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Welcome to Iowa Speedway, and welcome to the return of the classic IndyCar series presented by Logical Innovative Engineering here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live. It's Will Vincent along with Randy Cheneth, and well, Randy, the joys, the thrills, the spills of Indianapolis, they now are all over. It's back to the real season, and that means it's time to go and think about a short track, a bull ring. I mean, this track literally is flat out the entire way around, but it's only 7/8 of a mile.
Yeah, the lap times here, Will, going to be super quick. I mean, we got qualifying time coming in. Everyone's pretty much in the 18s, and talk about how fast these cars are going. This is, like you said, going to be a bull ring. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic race, I think.
A bowling bull ring could work as well.
Yes, it could. It could. All speech impediments aside.
Yeah, indeed so. There you can see then, we're not doing 71 laps here today, of course, but yeah, it's cold, and that is one thing worth thinking about. We've seen some drivers already struggling with the tyre temps. A bit like the Azerbaijan Grand Prix a little bit earlier on today. 65 degrees is the air temp, race relative humidity 74%, 12 kilometer an hour wind, and that is going to prove difficult on starts and restarts, especially restarts maybe 20-30 laps into a run if you're on old tyres.
It's also going to be difficult on restarts on new tires. I think this initial start's going to be very, very difficult. Those tires, not only are they going to be cold, but it's going to be very difficult getting any heat into them at all. And that initial bit of trying to get onto full throttle, you actually see Luis Zambelli on his qualifying lap number 2, spins coming off of lap number 4. I think the first few laps of a run are probably going to be the scariest.
That's often the thing at Iowa, and that's the thing also worth noting though, because this track is flat out, you have got to be really, really close in terms of the way that you negotiate this racetrack. That bump, though, we're going to talk quite a bit about this track here today because it is a short track, but it's a track with a lot of features here, Andy. That bump on the kind of second groove of turn number 1, you got to, if you hit that, it just pushes the car up a lane. So the idea of 2 free ride racing, it can work, but if you're on the inside, you've got to know where that bump is. You've got to anticipate it, and then you've got to recognize the fact there might be a driver on your outside.
Exactly. I mean, there's bumps all around this racetrack here at Iowa. It's one of the defining characteristics of it. It's a fantastic track for stock cars, but for Indy cars, it can be just as difficult. That bottom groove can be the quick way around, but as the tires start to go, and as you start to really hit those bumps down at the bottom, you might see drivers start moving their way up the racetrack. Like you said, 2, maybe even 3 wide racing is possible, especially when the tires have good grip, but I think we're going to be limited to about 2, maybe 1.5 wide is in terms of lanes that might work if we get a long green flag run happening here today.
Checker flag is out. We're going to talk then about qualifying results. They now show up on your screens. We're running fell through your starting grid here today with Henry Bennett, pole position there. Just 1/100th of a second actually ahead of Robert Grosser. Michele Constantini, who scored his first win in the Classic IndyCar Series in the first of the 2 races at Texas that took place a few weeks ago. He'll roll off in 3rd place here today. Then Andre, in the number 77 car, will roll off in P number 4. We'll cycle it on back a little bit. Timo Signemi in 5th place. Hans Pitkänen there, number 8 machine, in 6th. Row 4, TM Hauser on the inside and Patrick Byrne on the outside. Then Andrew Eder-Saunders and Tony Schoen in row 5. John Elmsweimer and Johnny Garrett there, row number 6. A little bit further back, we're going to show you then as the grid will roll up on your screen for you now. What's the thoughts then, Randy, as we head ourselves down into the start of this event?
This is going to be crazy. It's actually a fantastic turnout today. 25 cars on this tight little track. These guys are going to need to be careful to get 2 out laps here to really think about that with this track being under a mile. So hopefully everyone gets a calm, cool head and plays relatively calm. A lot of laps on the board today. Just slowly work your way up the field and keep it out of the wall.
Indeed so, and we are just a few moments away then from going racing here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. We need to step aside for just one brief second, and we'll be back with more in a sec.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, watch him, watch him, watch him. Damn it! Get ready. Dude, more heads up in that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yeah! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
Alright, sexy. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Room behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar.
He hit an outlap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. Hit me. Inside, inside, outside, inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. One of the 2 pace laps has been completed. We are now ready for the start of the Classic IndyCar Series from Iowa Speedway, presented by Logical Innovative Engineering, also in part by Joel Real Timing. A JRT key will go to the driver with the least incidents in the race here today. Front row of your grid is Henry Bennett, Robert Grosser, row 2, John Elmsweimer and Patrick Byrne. 2 new drivers in the Classic IndyCar Series scored themselves victory last time out. One of them, however, is way down the field here today. That is the driver of Louise Bailey, running off P number 20. Live timing and scoring will be available when the race gets itself underway, but the pace car now is going to make that journey on towards pit road, and that will put the field in the command of the driver out front. That is Henry Bennett. And it's now time to get these cars racing for 250 laps. Let's get the show on the road with RaceSpotTV Fan Immersion. Yellow. Yellow early. Dave Sestello's involved by the looks of it, or at least he might well have been. Jos van der Ven. There we can see him. He's going all forms of the wrong way on track. Let's give you a replay, Randy. Yellow early on in this motor race.
This is just an individual mistake by Jos van der Ven, just going to the inside, turns 1 and 2, he clipped the apron, which is death. And these open wheel cars at this speed, he just got spun around, and well, driver of Jack Turner just nowhere to go, completely clobbered him, so unfortunate for him. But talking about that race start, Will, Henry Bennett, I think he made the fatal mistake of being in the wrong gear. When we went green, he just didn't go. He's already back to 4th.
Yeah, he lost himself 3 places at the start of this motor race. I want to see, yeah, we are actually going to be able to see this start then from on board with Henry Bennett. Let's not forget, he's a pole sitter, so therefore he gets to control the pace. But let's listen in. He either had a Wolverhampton super long first gear in that car, or he started that in about 3rd gear by the sounds of it.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good start at all, and I'm actually really nervous for Robert Grosser as well as Michele Constantini. I think that they might have gotten to the line before Henry Bennett, and if that happened, they might have to make a trip down pit road.
And a pit road visit here will cost you maybe 2 laps, because it's such a short track here and because the lap speeds here are so high. I mean, if you pit under green at Richmond, you lose 2.5 laps. Here, you lose close to 2 laps anyway. So Robert Grosser's got to be careful here. But what else could he do? I mean, you saw if you see the car on your left accelerating, your natural instinct is to hit the noisy pedal. You don't think about whether the guy's got a longer first gear than you. That's not your fault. You don't think about whether or not, you know, maybe he's in the wrong gear to start the motor race. Henry Bennett is in P number 4 right now. But it brings me back to the first time I ever scored a pole position in an iRacing IndyCar event. And I'd made my own setup, and I'd found a way of basically being able to get the RPMs stable out of pit road. The way I did that was with a longer first gear. That didn't work when it got to the start of the motor race, and I think there's about 14 drivers taken out behind me. Not my fault. It was my fault.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate wheel-related incident there. But right now, everyone's lining up, so hopefully they don't get a black flag. But if they do, that's going to be something they have to serve under green flag conditions, I do believe.
Yeah.
Although, would it give them an EOL if it quickly went to
No, you have to do it under green flag conditions. We won't know for the next 2 to 3 laps or so.
Okay.
Now,
well, the anticipation is killing me.
Yeah. It's worth thinking that in the last couple of races we've had in the Classic IndyCar Series, both at Texas Motor Speedway, we had ourselves one race that worked with 3 cautions, one race that had a very long caution at the start, and that ended up being a timed race. So timed events are a thing here in the Classic IndyCar Series. We will show you periodically the fact that there is only 2 hours for this race to be completed for 250 laps. We should be okay. But the more cautions we have, the closer it will get to this becoming a timed race. Green flag back in the air. You see, Bennett that time was better on the start. Grosser, very good start as the drivers work themselves down in towards turn number 1. Actually, I take that back. Bennett, look at the run he's got on the high side as he works himself down into turn number 3 right now. Up into 3rd place then for Henry Bennett. And well, he evidently did have an issue on that first start because that one was far, far better for him.
I think that's exactly what happened to you, just in, 3rd gear, something we didn't need to be. Also, Robert Grosser, he got a good initial jump, but coming off of quarter number 2, he clipped the bump, and because of that, he had to lift way out of the throttle. Michele Constantini took advantage of that situation. 66 now leads here at Iowa as they run into 1 and 2 for the 9th time.
Yeah, and you can see Constantini now is seen as your race leader, number 66 machine. Robert Grosser along back about 1.5 tenths of a second. Then it's Henry Bennett. We've got a driver who looked as though he went very loose on the exit turn number 4, but he keeps it going. That is the number 77 machine there, Andre, as he works himself out of turn number 2. That car can run itself very low compared to some of its competitors.
Andre Efimenko, he's running really, really tight on the exit of 4. You see all the way down this front straightaway against the yellow line, and then all the way down to the inside through 1 and 2. It's good to see a car be able to work like that, Will, but I have to say for that 77 machine, he needs to be careful with that, because the one thing I think of as he runs that line, eating up the tires.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. He can do that for 10, 15 laps or so, but those tires will fall to pieces before too long. You can see he works himself now just alongside the driver of Henry Bennett, battle for 3rd position, able to keep himself just ahead, can't swing to the outside just yet. But these drivers immediately will be using those in-car tools, the anti-roll bars, front and rear, as well as the weight jacket. But for Andre, you see, he's not just able to get himself working as the other drivers are. He's been forced to hold that inside line now for about 5 laps.
And I think things are going to get worse for him because you have TM Hauser and Timo Isanemi. They've caught up to the back of Henry Bennett, basically following in his tire tracks. And what's going to happen is that if Andre doesn't get this pass done, he's not going to have anywhere to fall back. He's going to have to essentially give up 2-3 positions just to fall himself in line.
There he is, and you can see the drivers on the outside working so well, and that's the thing about Iowa Speedway. The high side works just as well as the low side as they work themselves down the back straight away again in towards turn number 3 and 4. Give you an update, by the way, all drivers are running on track right now. That is a good thing to see. 25 drivers are running. We've also got now a situation, TM Hauser, he's on the move. He's looking to try and go down to the inside of Henry Bennett, but he's not able to do so.
Yeah, so Bennett has his hands full right now of Andre Efimenko. Actually, Andre could come up the racetrack if he wants. I think Andre's gotten himself clear, setting his sights now on Robert Grosser for 2nd place, but still, like you said, TM Hauser trying to get to Henry Bennett, not quite able to do so as they work down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Let's see how he's able to close. And you're already seeing it, Will. One of the big talking points at Iowa, the different grooves drivers can drive. See, if you look through the top 5, top 6, you see all of them running a slightly different line from one another. A lot of drivers really not running in each other's tire tracks like you might see at most racetracks.
Yeah, and the thing about this track as well, because it's so cold, it will mean the tire life is better than what we'd see normally here at this racetrack. For example, say in the day, the Verizon IndyCar Series ran this race in the nighttime, moved it to the daytime in more recent years, and that has had an impact on the way this race has been run. John Elmsweimer, by the way, we're on board of him right now. Number 88 machine versus the Tarjay machine there, or Dennis Garis. Through turn number 3 and 4 they come, through the front straightaway they come, in towards turn number 1 and 2 and come, and John Elmsweimer, again, you see there, inside line, in theory, should be the faster line, not at a track like Iowa, because also, you've got to remember, there is that progressive banking here.
Yeah, just a little bit of progressive banking, but I think the main thing is just how abrasive that bottom gets. As the tires start to come off, that corner is tight, and those little bit of bumps. They're not very big, but they're noticeable, and they're just enough to upset the car, and they really do hurt your momentum. For that reason, you know, the quick line a lot of times, especially when you're side by side with someone, is being in that second lane, running almost a car width up. I mean, in fact, we get deep enough in the run, you'll see guys, they won't even go down to the yellow line all by themselves just because that inside groove will be so difficult to try and hold.
We've got Lucas DeVille side by side right now. He is with the driver of Carson Bodaway. A little touch on the outside wall then for Lucas DeVille on the exit of turn number 4. Into 1 they come again. DeVille is right on the rev limiter there.
Yeah, he's really pushing this car to the limit, and you know that I know in the old and you know in the newer car it maybe not quite so much, but in the old car you wanted to have the gear ratio set so you were pretty much all over the limiter just as you turned in. So well done by the 10 machine getting his gear ratios figured out, getting as most as he actually could. But we've had a change up front for P number 2. Andrei Fomenko has now slotted himself into the second spot, Will, and it's been about 20 some odd laps. He has not come up from the bottom yet, so that number 77 machine, it can work that yellow line really, really well and apparently not slaughter the tires too bad.
But we are only 10% into this motor race. We're right on board with Johnny Garrett there with the number 82 Geico machine. Don't forget, 15 minutes can save yourself 15% or more on car insurance. As we got side by side for your race lead then, Michelle Constantini, number 66, Shell V-Power machine versus the number 77 machine there. Barrel Wilkins machine as they head themselves out of turn number 4. It is going to be Andrei Fomenko in the number 77 machine, moving himself to the front of the field. He has done a superb drive so far here today. Now he leads the motor race. When you have a look at the moves and shakers in this motor race, he's up 3 places from the start. Only other drivers inside your top 10 to have done more. Tim Hauser, same positions. Chad Frankenfeld, 3 positions. But Dennis Garisi up 9 spots in this event so far.
Yeah, well done by Dennis. Not a good qualifying from him. Really him or his teammate, Lucas LaVille. Dennis qualified 17th. Lucas qualified 23rd. So not good starts for either of them as they currently run at the moment. But Andreas Fomenko currently going to try to stretch a gap over these cars behind. And I think Andre is going to be a very difficult car to pass, Will, because normally we talk about Iowa and the multi-groovedness of this racetrack. If he's able to make the bottom work like this, I don't know if you're going to be able to make the top side work trying to make a pass.
The issue will be how many people try to run the top of this racetrack. I think if people do it all day long, you'll be fine. The second that people start going to one groove racing, then that top groove is going to become harder and harder to deal with because of the debris, the marbles that we built up on that outside line. John Elsheimer just tries to do a dive on the inside there of the number 12 machine, and Dave Sistello able there to counter that one, and Elsheimer has to lose, I would say, about half a tenth of a second in sorting that one out.
Spinner down in the grass. Who is this? It's one of the Lotus machines. It is
Johnny Garrett.
He's down on the Legends level, the 82 machine, and I don't know if there was contact. I think this is just another individual mistake. He got loose coming up off of 4. Actually, that's really weird. He spun really, really late in that corner, Will.
Do you know how hard it is to get back onto track at this point?
Oh yeah, this is
it's scary
gonna
hard.
be impossible. Yeah, he's gonna lose himself.
Oh, trouble! We've got the number 12
leader?
machine in the air by the looks of it. Yeah, number 12 machine, David Sistello. We got a crash. Sistello, caution, second caution of the day. That was not a reaction to what we saw. I'm going to ride on board now with the number 12 machine. And the number 12 machine just got himself 2 wheels below the yellow. Upside down, he went for a brief moment. Somehow, almost everyone was able to get past him. But wow, a wicked incident there for Dave Sistello on lap number 34 of this motor race. Replay coming up for you now. 2 wheels below the yellow, as simple as that. But somehow, I have no idea how some of those drivers are able to find a way past. I want to show you one more look then. This is from the rear of Dave Sistello. There are 2 drivers there, Randy, who very easily could have been wiped out of this event. Millimeters.
Randy Shoemake and Karsten Brody, both of them about an inch. One went about an inch away on the left, and the other one went about an inch away on the right. Fantastic driving by both to avoid that flipping number 12 machine.
Replay of Shoemaker, maybe?
Yeah. I think, yeah, either him or Brody. They basically saw the same thing, but one was up high and the other was down low.
Yeah, we're going to try and see where we can find ourselves a replay from Randy Shoemaker. Our timing and scoring, of course, is a little bit up and down right now because we've got ourselves drivers coming on towards pit road to do their service, etc. So there is Randy. In fact, Randy stays out, actually. But let's have a look on board with Randy. See the spin ahead of you. Oh my word, that was close.
Yeah, that was not ideal at all, not the ideal situation. And you basically have, from when he saw the spin, he had about 4 seconds to decide where he was going to go, and he made up his mind to go high. And well, the Red Sea opened at the perfect time. If he had gotten there any sooner or any later, it may have been bad news bears for that 6 machine.
Yeah.
But 2 yellows tonight, Will, and both of them coming from people clipping that apron down on the inside.
Inside turn number 1, and I think a lot of people try to do all they can to kind of diamond off that corner, knowing where the bump is down at turn number 1, but at the same time, you got to talk about this racetrack in the same vein as Texas, that there's a big difference between the actual track surface and the apron itself. Now, at tracks like, for example, Charlotte, Atlanta, it's the easiest one to talk about, maybe Michigan as well, you get 2 wheels inside the apron, it's okay, because the apron is kind of banked a little bit. That's not the case here at Iowa, the same way it's not the case at Texas Motor Speedway. You put 2 wheels in, well, there's nothing giving it any grip, because there's air between the tyre and the asphalt.
Yeah, and what you essentially do, you almost high center the car. You almost will pitch the car on 3 wheels for a moment, and well, believe it or not, at 180 close to 200 miles an hour, that doesn't do well for the chassis geometry.
Well, Randy Shoemaker didn't come on towards pit road. Tony Schoen didn't come on towards pit road. Michele Constantini did. As well as, you know what? All but 2 drivers here. This is going to be a very, very interesting restart. And this is going to be old tyres versus new tyres. The first time we're going to see that one in action today.
This is going to be interesting to see. An interesting strategy call by these guys to stay out and take the track position over new rubber. They're going to be really light on fuel over these guys on new rubber, though, Will. So I think for them, they'll be okay speed-wise. Question's going to be, though, how is that car and how are those tires going to do with the bit of a heat cycle they're about to put through them? Tires, just after about a 20-some-odd lap run, get very, very hot, cool them down under caution here, especially as cold as the track surface is here today. Might make things very difficult here on the restart for someone like Randy Shoemaker.
They survive the first lap, I think they'll be fine, but surviving that first lap, for my opinion.
Yeah, that's going to be the main obstacle for them to get themselves through, but lights out on the pace car, and, well, if you're Randy Shoemaker, you better hope that light tank is going to make you pretty quick and that you can maintain with these guys. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of cars behind you wanting to get by very, very quickly.
Indeed so. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you in November will be the first ever RaceSpotTV Indianapolis 500. Details about how you can sign up and take part in the biggest Indy 500 you have ever seen on iRacing, coming soon here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. Shoemaker then gonna lead the field back to green flag racing. Let's have a look from the rear of him. Pace car's on.
No, race control just extended the caution. Not sure why.
Did they want to hear more of a commercial from me?
Maybe. I'm not sure what happened. It came from Lucas LaVille, who I saw came down pit road. I don't know if there was an alignment issue with the field.
Well, whilst that's going on,
you get to promo the RaceSpot Indy 500 more.
We'll talk about the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, which is back in 13 days' time for the next round of the championship, and it's all been about Martin Cronkey. Can anyone beat the code? You'll have to find out here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live, the World Championship Grand Prix Series of iRacing. Here we go again then. Drivers are side by side. Once again, we have a look from the rear of Randy Shoemaker. This time the pace car is going to go on towards pit road. This time we have a look from the rear of Randy Shoemaker. Green flag in the air. Here we go. But what a start there by the number 66 machine. Constantini into one. Losing the position though, because Shoemaker does get himself the position.
Yeah, I think that light tank of fuel as he came off of corner number 2 paid off in dividends for the 06. Got good traction on the bottom, was able to make it stick. He took his race lead back. He leads his first lap under green, but Michele Constantini all over the back of that 06 machine as they come off of corner number 2 and down the back straightaway. Old tires versus new tires into 3 and 4, and well, they're about even at the moment, I'd say, Will, as they're 3 wide, a little bit deeper in the field.
Yeah, business is picked up there. We're on board of Hans Pitkanen there in the number 8 machine as he works himself through turn number 1. He's got himself John Elmsweimer, Henry Bennett alongside him and in front of him. There, you'll see the number 88 machine of Elmsweimer. Does get a better run for the corner. Look at that, trying to go 3 wide at the exit of the corner. That is going to be Dennis Garisi. Garisi, though, can't make the move happen. It's all started happening here.
We had an incident coming down on the pit lane. We had 3 drivers coming down pit road. I think they may have had penalties to serve. It was Andrew Saunders, Tim Miller, and Timo Isanemi. Timo Isanemi, super hot into the pit exit. He just drove right over the back of Tim Miller. Ended both of their days for sure. This happened down on pit lane just a couple laps ago. It was lap 40 for Timo Isanemi. I'll get your timestamp in a second. But yeah, huge incident down here in the early stages still. Yeah,
Isanemi is classified as out of this event, so to say, for the time being. Let's see if we can see anything for Isanemi. Well, this is from the pit road, and we're not going to see anything there. So let's actually try and see whether we can find the relative point. Isanemi on track at this point. There we can see... Nope. This is Isanemi. This is just what you were talking about, actually. You see that car buried on the inside of pit road. Here's Isanemi coming on towards pit road. Run the apron. Down into turn number 3 and 4. Coming on towards pit road. Kablam! Just turning a car right around there. That's the number 2 machine. And yellow is out at the same time. Tim Miller was the other driver involved in that one. We're going to get a replay from on board of Tim Miller. And also what happened in the caution there.
This was a 3 wide moment, just going into 3 and 4. Luis Zambelli and who's that car on the outside? It was Jack Turner involved, and they were going 3 wide with Patrick Byrne and Zambelli in the middle. And I think the 83 just thought he was clear. He just came down about a half a groove too much. The 83 and Jack Turner, he just clipped Zambelli. And when it happens at 3 wide at 170 miles an hour, it doesn't work out too well.
Yeah, there you see the 2 car 83 machine into the wall. Jack Turner then going to have to get some substantial repairs to his machine. One more look on board of him then. Jack Turner will go on board of him now. There we are. Exit of turn 2. All is fine. You notice then? Car alongside. And into the wall then. Jack Turner goes. Out of the event he goes from the time being. Well, 3 cautions so far here today. We're going to take a quick break here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. We'll be back with more after this.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, Indycar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, worth noting, Randy Shoemake and Tony Sherwin still haven't pitted. They're now 50 laps into a stint here, Randy.
I think that's a good call by them to a certain extent because they've just picked up a bunch of track position. I mean, they were running, mid-pack towards, top 15, maybe top 20, and get yourself a little bit out of the melee, get yourself out front, lead some laps, and, if we keep getting cautions like this, eventually probably everyone's going to come down pit road at roughly the same time, get yourself on cycle, and, hey, suddenly you're running in the top 5.
Indeed so. Just having a look then through your field. Constantini in second place right now. Team Hauser though leads this motor race. We haven't really talked about Team Hauser all day long. Number 56 machine leading the way as we zoom out, and you will see lights are still on the pace car, so at least one more lap to go. Drivers out at this event: Timo Isinemi and Dave Costello. Maybe
Turner,
also Jack Turner.
You could probably add that to the list because he's got a lot of damage. I think he's going to be on pit lane for at least another 40 laps.
He's
Actually,
out.
He just got out of that car, so that's rip.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes on pit road for him, so not a good run. The number 83 machine. There, of course, that was used by Charlie Kimball, 2011. We all know what happened the last lap of the 2011 Indy 500. But since then, Charlie Kimball did actually win a race at Mid-Ohio. And it was a really good race, actually, by Charlie Kimball. First driver with type 1 diabetes to ever win an IndyCar race, Charlie Kimball.
Good for him. Good for him. I know there's a younger driver coming up the NASCAR ranks that I know is a diabetic. I can't remember his name, actually, but I remember him showing up at a car show here in San Diego a while back. And it's always good to see people waving the flags as a good causes, as I just completely get mind blank. So we'll call a start.
Well, we're going to see the drivers heading themselves in towards Iowa Turn 1 in just a few moments' time. Pace car going to pull itself on towards pit road then. Here we go. New lap, new run, green flag back out in the air here. Team Hauser versus Michelle Constantini. And here they go in towards turn number 1. Let's get that camera ready for you. Hauser leads. Constantini second. Shoemaker up into third.
Huge moves. Shoemaker, I was just about to say, restarted 6. He picked up 3 spots on that restart. So the old tires, I think the old tires are fine if you have the light tank of fuel. He clipped the apron, I think, had to get way out of the throttle. They're almost 4 wide behind.
Yeah, they are. It's a crazy run here. 2 wide, 4 deep as they work themselves back towards the start-finish line. As well, they survived. That's the thing about this race so far. We haven't seen any restart incidents. The incidents seem to come about 5-6 laps into a run, if they are going to happen, on board of Andrew Aitken right now.
Yeah, and we've everyone's been relatively calm on the restarts, and really most of the incidents we've seen, Will, are just slight misjudgments. The only really, silly or obnoxious maybe incident we've seen was Timo Isinemi coming down on the pit lane, but besides that, it's been people clipping the apron or people misjudging a 3 wide moment, which, let's be honest, 3 wide at Iowa doesn't always work out the greatest, but these guys are trying to make it work a little bit deeper in the field. But, it's been a relatively clean and smart race so far. But that said, Team Hauser, I think things are going to get really, really hot up for the race lead between Hauser, Constantini, and Sherwin here as they come off of 4.
Indeed so. Let's have a look on board then with Michelle Constantini. Number 66, Shell Penzolkar versus Mategi Racing number 56 machine. Over the bumps goes Tim Hauser. But Hauser has done so many races around this racetrack, so he knows what's going on for him. Constantini, though, looks to the inside for the race lead as they come down in towards turn number 1. And he's got it there. Constantini moves himself to the front of the field, but will he for long? Because on the outside, Tim Hauser will try to keep a hold of that momentum. Constantini is going to lose out there. The inside line not fully working as they almost come together in towards turn number 2. And while Constantini there versus Hauser has allowed Tony Sherwin Andre and Robert Groves are back into this one. Constantini almost hits the side there of TM Hauser.
Constantini, big aggressive move, and then 3 wide for second, just about, between TM Hauser, Afamenko, as well as Tony Schoen. Schoen being able to nose out into the second spot for now. They run into 3 and 4, and he just gets himself clear of TM Hauser. Move that 33 machine up into the second spot as Constantini out in front still. That car wheel, I don't think is the quickest of the bunch, but that 66 doing a good job of making it wide, but here comes the 33. Bit of a narrow exit up off of 2, into 3 and 4 they come, not quite able to get the groove. The Afamenko still making that super inside groove work for him, the only driver that we've seen be able to make that work all night.
Yeah, the number 33 car, of course, the Tony Schoen hasn't yet pitted in this race. Andre Afamenko has made a pit stop. He's the only driver we've really seen navigate that low line, but here we see the number 77 machine again on the inside line, but just alongside him, that second lane was TM Hauser. You see though how much TM Hauser pushed up as he tried to take a similar line to Afamenko. He just couldn't do it, lose himself in position.
I think that might have to be, come down to downforce levels, because I think if you have the car set up to run a more traditional groove, I don't think you could ever run that as Afamenko goes to the inside now of Tony Schoen for your race lead. He doesn't get the momentum up off the corner onto the back straightaway, but into 3 and 4, he still has the overlap, and as he comes up off the corner, he's going to nose ahead, and this front straightaway is curved, and it's the shorter way around. He just barely doesn't lead that lap, but he's clear into 1 and 2. 77 machine back to the race lead.
Yes, for the second time here today, Afamenko leads this motor race from Tony Schoen in second, Michel Constantini in third.
Car on the wall.
Yeah, we've got ourselves, it's the number 5 machine, caution out. The number 5 machine there. We can see him.
Tyler Vickery in a secondary incident.
Yep, there's the number 5 car then, so incident for him. Let's get ourselves a replay. And we've got to rewind this a little bit further by the looks of it. And it is the number 5 car that we are talking about. That is Chad Frankenfeld right now, number 5 machine. And this happened down into turn 3 and 4. Going to ride on board of him. 2 wheels below the white line. Slams into the side there of, I saw the number 6 machine, but I want to have a look at that one again. Yeah, it was the 06 machine or the 6 machine or something like that I saw.
Shoemake.
Yeah, Randy Shoemake. Shoemake had fallen really far down the field. There we can see Chad Frankenfeld as he just starts to spin. Then he catches. There's 2 drivers involved. Number 26 machine, number 06 machine involved in that one.
And then there's a big secondary incident, Will. This is between the 27 and the 20 as they came up on the incident. The 20, with lack of better terms, he just sort of, I don't know if the yellow hadn't flown yet and he didn't realize there was an incident in front of him, but the 27 to burn, he had seen that something was going on. He checked up heavy, slowed way down. Number 20 just, lack of better terms, just arca braked into 3 and 4, and he just ran over the back of Patrick Byrne, and it's probably going to be the end of both of their races.
Yeah, we just saw that one there. Patrick Byrne, number 27 machine, out of this motor race. Well, here's going to be an interesting thing, because most drivers are on for the second pit stop of the day. We've got yourselves, of course, a couple of drivers.
A few people staying out, it looks like.
Yeah, a couple of people staying out. So let's take you away for a moment here on RaceSpotTV. Back with more after this.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, Indycar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the dirt revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Hey guys, Christopher Bell here. As you guys know, iRacing is coming out with dirt, and it's been a long time coming. So I'm here today to kind of show you around the sprint cars and hopefully give you some insight for whenever you first try.
Back here for the green. Michelle Constantini then leads away. Well, actually, that's a lie, because it's the number 77 machine there. Andrei Efimchenko who leads away. After pit stop number 2. 71 laps, scored complete. Green flag back in the air.
Oh, Efimchenko bobbles. We've got another car spinning around. Who's that spun around on the apron? We're immediately back to yellow. Still don't know who that is. That is Tony Schoen.
It is. There he is, Tony Schoen. Replay coming. And we don't often see a mistake like that from Tony Schoen.
Yeah, that one was really, really weird. We talk about the bumps here, Will. This is the first time I really think I've ever seen a car get spun because of the bumps, because he was nowhere near the apron. That car, I think, as it came up to speed, he caught that bump a little bit wrong, and it just sent it around. Luckily, he didn't get up into the field, and, really no damage done. He's going to go to the back of the longest line for sure because he brought out the yellow. But, I mean, really good job by everyone to avoid.
Indeed so.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, watch him, watch him. Damn it! Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yes! Yes! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Room behind you. Control. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
Indycar.
The in and out lap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. Hit me. Inside, inside, outside, inside, outside.
2017 Verizon Indycar Series. See what's next.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV. Michelle Constantini is your leader here. Retirees out of this race so far, they are Tyler Vickery, Jack Turner, teammate is Amy Davis Costello. Jack Turner couldn't get those repairs done, so that number 83 diabetes car. Look, it's not even an office car, but I'm going to call it diabetes car.
Fair enough. Works for me.
Yeah.
If it works for me, it works for everyone else. Because I'm the hardest person to satisfy.
Michelle Constantini does lead the motor race right now. It's going to be interesting on this restart, actually, because of the fact that we've got yourself now, Ivnenko down into P number 4. He had a horrible restart like last time by, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Not a great one. I mean, didn't he have the spinner restart like right in front of him? Which, I mean, never, especially the groove that the 77 car has been running all night. Actually, no, he started.
No, he started in the lead. I think he just went for the gears wrong, to be fair. Or he caught the bump as he was catching a gear.
That's exactly what happened. He caught the bump and he had to lift. And when that happened, he basically got swarmed by Constantini, Imsweiler, and Hauser.
Yeah. He starts on the outside of row number 2. However, there's a big gap between him and Robert Grosser in P number 5. Don't forget, by the way, Logical Innovative Engineering present the classic IndyCar series here on RaceSpotTV. Our coverage is also brought to you in part by Joe Real Timing. So, pace cars in, under the lights here at Iowa. Let's go racing one more time here. Green flag back in the air.
Great jump from Michelle Constantini there. They run down into corner 1 and 2, gets himself clear. Top 3 going to be single file, but they're 2 by 2 behind. As the 9 machine gets to run on the outside. Caution again. Car faced the wrong way in 1 and 2. Tim Miller and Johnny Garrett involved.
Replay?
You're the production guy. Why are you asking me?
Tim Miller. Let's have a look. Now, this number 2 Telemundo car has been involved in an incident already today, hasn't it?
Yeah, that was with Isanemi. This one,
yeah.
I have to say, I don't think there's much he could do because Garrett in front of him got into the back of Tony Schoen, clipped the back of him, and because of that, the 82 checked way up, and I don't think the 2 machine was expecting that, and really not much Tim Miller could do there, just sort of...
Oh, God, no, he couldn't. Yeah. Nothing there, really. And that's the thing. You've got to consider, when a car's in front of you going at close to 200 miles an hour, and it's spinning, and it's blocking your lane, it's very actually hard to actually get out of the way. Here's Johnny Garrett then. A look from on board of him as he comes into this incident. Let's have a look. Yeah, and Garrett ran into the rear of the number 33 machine. That is Tony Schoen. And then Schoen was able to carry on, but Garrett got the worst of that. Let's have a look now from Tony Schoen's perspective. You can hear the damage. You can hear the incident, but Tony Schoen able to carry on there.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really hard hits. Both hits were actually quite square to both cars, so I don't think we're actually going to see anyone out. Tim Miller has a little bit of damage on his front wing, and I think he might come down and get repaired on pit lane, which really he should because he's at the back after that incident anyway, so not really going to lose any track position. But, you know, for the most part, it was if you're going to hit someone in the IndyCar, those hits, both the initial one and the secondary one with Miller, were both the way you'd want to hit somebody at relatively low speed and square onto the back of them.
Yep, so lap number 81 or 250 here. We will step aside for one more brief moment here. Sort out a couple of issues. We'll be back with more after this.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, Indycar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, watch him, watch him, watch him. Damn it! Get ready. Dude, more heads up in that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yeah! Yeah! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass.
We'd like to thank you for joining us instead of watching the Colour Grand Prix. Of course, though, please do watch the Colour Grand Prix on the NBC Sports Network. Lights are out. Green flag in the air. What a start, though, by Team Hauser, actually. Almost alongside Michele Constantini as they come down into turn 1. Loses the advantage out of that first corner. But now, in towards turn 3 and 4, Garisi doing well. In fact, a really good restart throughout your field here as these drivers, you got yourselves 11 drivers in 2 seconds of your race leader, but behind, that is where the danger zone teams were being all day long.
Disaster, I think, for John Emsweiler, who's running 4th. I don't know what happened. I think he may have gotten a black flag for this restart. He's coming down on a pit lane right now. Disaster for the 88, and you talked about that, Will. How many laps do you lose under green? The 88 machine, first green flag stop of the day. We're going to get a good idea of how much time you actually lose.
Well, let's have a look at the restart then from John Elmsweimer. I want to see if it's on this caution or the previous caution, because he was on the inside line. You don't really get a penalty if you're on the inside line, ever.
Yeah, it's sort of... It had to have been the last time, because this one, he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, quite clearly that was... It's got to have been on the previous restart there. Just getting confirmation that it was on the previous restart. So, Elmsweimer then, all the way down, 19th place. And look at the guys swarming past, and this is what I mean. Coming out of pit road here at Iowa is so treacherous. But P number 20, he is down 2 laps as a consequence.
Yeah, so I mean that's basically almost day done for John Elmsweiler. You'd think a lot of the people, you think Tim Miller and Hans Buchanan, Tim Miller in particular, he's been involved in 2 incidents today. He's only 1 lap down. That little mistake for Emsweiler there, that's basically equated to getting run into the back of by Timo Isinemi and getting in an incident, and then add an extra lap on top of that. Disaster for the 88.
We're out on board of Dennis Greasy, number 9 machine, versus Tim Hauser right now. High side line for Dennis Garisi, but what he's doing is he's trying to duck down to the inside line into the corners. That I don't think's working for him. In fact, yeah, Constantini has gone past. Dennis Garisi trying to diamond off the corners isn't working for him. He loses the position.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the way that this track has come in, you really want to keep that car tight on entry and exit. I think, you watch TM Hauser, and he started to run a similar line to Andrei Efemenko. As TM Hauser, you watch, he's entering the corners a little bit narrower than everybody else. As you see Constantini and Grease, they run a little bit more conventional line, and then Hauser holding it really, really tight on the exit, and then he enters from about the middle of the racetrack, not quite as tight as Andrei Efemenko has been doing all day, who's currently side by side of the 9 and Dennis Grease. But I think people have seen that, maybe added a little bit of downforce, and found that it might be working for them.
Andrei Efemenko then still in the third, fourth place even, as he battles it out with the driver of Dennis Grease. You see that side by side, and actually Michel Constantini's the driver that's actually holding up Efemenko for the time being. And I think that's the thing. You can run that ultra inside line if there's not another driver also trying to do that same thing. Dennis Grease is able to work the outside line. Actually, I would say, if Grease stays in that position the way he is right now, he could be leading this race in about 6 laps time, because he's doing a sterling job on that outside line right now.
Yeah, the Grease is looking good, but TM Hauser's doing a fantastic job out in front. But we'll say through 1 and 2, last time by, Michel Constantini, a little bit of a hiccup through 1 and 2. He caught one of the bumps wrong, and because of that, him and Andrei Efemenko both had to check up, and they got lucky. Great driving by both. There wasn't an incident, as these guys still running this sort of abbreviated inside groove here now. We're about 96 laps into this race, and Efemenko still will. We talked about how that car's tires would die off. 97 laps in, and this track has been heat cycled and rubber has been put down. He's still able to stick that car down there, as we actually see a race leader, TM Hauser, start to go to a more conventional groove, at least that time through 3 and 4. Yeah,
Constantini got very close actually to the rear of TM Hauser a moment ago, but lifts off the throttle. And that's what he's doing. He's lifting off the gas through turn number 1 and 2 to keep that tight angle going.
It can almost be a little bit in some ways, I think, Will, kind of like what you get honestly on the dirt stuff in the sprint cars and in late models, because the way you make a sprint car fast is you want to be, big trouble, car in the wall on the exit of corner number 2, hard hit. This is Robert Grosser in the 1. Not sure what happened here, if there's initial contact. Looking on the replay, he clipped the apron.
Oh, there is Robert Grosser. You can see damage then to the side pod of that car. And that is going to be bad for him right now. You can just see, we can't actually just highlight that for you. What we will do instead is show you a replay. There we are. You can see damage to both sides, actually. Both side pods of Robert Grosser's. There's one of them on that side of it. But I want to just try to cycle that back a moment and show you what happened on board of him. Here we go. Two wheels by himself. Wall. Clips number 5 machine. Here's a replay on board of that number 5 machine to show you the incident from his angle. That's a big hit there for number 5 car. And I think Chad Frankenfeld has been involved in an incident already today, so that's going to really hurt him now.
Yeah, I think we've seen both of the Lotus cars get involved in this, and it's both the 5 and I think it's the 82 or the 83. Yeah, it's the 82. I think both of them been involved, and that's never good for them. Especially now that they don't have that reset, they're not going to be able to get back out there on track. Meanwhile, Robert Grosser, that hard hit, he's able to drive it back around, takes that reset, and he's back out on track. So, oh man, it's other thing we got to think about, Will, we are approaching that sort of window where if this keeps up, we might end up with a time delayed race, because 250 laps, we still have 25 laps to go to halfway, and we're only 6 minutes away from that hour mark.
Yeah, then you can see 149 laps remaining. 1 hour 5 to go. Back in a second.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
the NASCAR beginner.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. There's Tony Show, and he's your race leader right now. Out of nowhere, Randy.
I think this is a bit more pit stop strategy. We had a bunch of cars come down pit lane. I mean, both your top two, Tony Schoen, Jos van de Ven, two cars that really haven't been up front most of the day.
Jos van de Ven also hasn't pitted. He's 36 laps into a stint, though, so this could be dangerous.
Yeah, this is... It's playing with fire, isn't it? The lights are out on the pace car, staying out that long. It's a risk, but the way this race has been going, Will, especially in this second stretch, you know, the first 30 laps relatively clean. A lot of yellows, though, back to back to back, though, here in this race, the last about 60 laps.
Here we are, then. Pace car, pit road, once again. Ready to go green. And we are green. 1 hour 2 remaining in this motor race in terms of laps. 105 are scored complete. At the moment, this is a timed race. 3 wide, 3 race lead. Number 9 car gets it. Garisi to the point.
Well done by that number 9 machine of Dennis Grease to get that race lead. And you talked about that, Will. The old tires on Tony Schoen not playing out very well. Swarmed coming off of corner number 2, and he's already dropped back, I think, even further. I think he's currently running P4, P5 as he fights with Jos van de Ven. So the 2 cars he started on row number 1, now back to 3rd and 4th.
You can see as well, there were drivers going almost 4 wide around him. But Dennis Garisi leads this motor race. Caton Bomber's patch right now. He's on the ultra inside line. He's falling down P number 10. And that's the thing, that ultra inside line doesn't work for everyone here. And for some drivers, that means that if you get caught on that inside line, you really do struggle.
Yeah, you really can, as right now, race lead heating up. TM Hauser making that inside groove work, running that ultra inside line. We've been seeing the 77 car run all day. TM Hauser in the 56, he figures out to make it work. He has the race lead, but the 9 agrees. Big run off the top side, off of corner number 2, back into 3 and 4. And Hauser gets clear, but Grease works the undercut, is going to go down to the inside, down the front straightaway. I think TM Hauser is just going to lead that lap by 7 thousandths, but now Dennis Grease has taken away the line that Hauser wants to use, and now we've got company for second place as Tony Schoen in the 33 is there.
Yeah, Tony Schoen in third place right now, but holding the outside line. That means that Team Hauser is going to have to play the very long game of running that outside line. So for Team Hauser, I take that back actually. Tony Schoen was on the inside line, Hauser on the outside. I was going to say that I thought if Team Hauser was going to run the inside line, it could have been a very long game. Tony Schoen, though, going back to the race leaders. We're on board with Team Hauser. Look at Show and Go. That is partially, though, of course, because of the fact that Schoen has got less fuel. Team Hauser tries to get himself down to the inside line, but Garisi was like, well, I want that inside line. What are you doing? What are you doing, bruh?
Yeah, well done by Hauser to get himself down to the inside, just to pop that collar and out broad Dennis Grease to get down to the inside groove. But here comes Dennis Grease, gonna fight back on the inside of TM Hauser again, and Hauser almost turned in on that number 9 machine. I think he saw him at the last second, but Dennis Grease doing a fantastic job, Will, of being aggressive and not allowing this 56 car to stick to the bottom of the racetrack. Hauser, I think, needs to defend his inside, because that's where that 56 machine is really strong.
Although you say that, the 56 machine should have the advantage as Hauser tries to cut down to the inside, almost running over the rear wing then of the number 9 machine of Dennis Garisi. Hauser does put himself back ahead there, but that was mighty, mighty close.
They're fine, bro. Relax.
On board with Dennis Garisi. Live timing and scoring is available. Just visit RaceSpot.tv /timing if our timing and scoring can keep up here, Randy.
Yeah, if it can, and that's a really, really big if. With the quick lap times here, 18 seconds is what everyone basically doing around this racetrack. And TM Hauser gets a little bit of space between him and Dennis Grease, but that said, Grease gets a big run again coming off of corner number 4. And the ebb and flow of these lines, Will, has been really interesting to watch when we do get green flag runs. seeing people that have started working a more tighter groove, and the people that are running a more conventional line, like what Dennis Gary says, it's really interesting to see as the tires fall off and as the fuel burns off, who is strong where and when. Oh, we got a spinner down in the infield. Grease.
Here's a replay. Dennis Carisi, we've seen a couple of them already. Dennis Carisi losing that car through turn number 4. And well, Randy, we talked quite heavily about the fact that turn number 1 and 2 can be a dangerous spot, but the exit of turn 4, as the banking goes to the flat, can also be an issue. Dennis Carisi is our first victim there here today.
Well, and it wasn't just him. The number 5 machine of Chad Frankenfield, that's the actual incident that brought out the caution. Happened a little bit later on. 5 machine caught the apron into 3, got sent around, and well, the 4 machine of Andrew Adair Saunders in that National Guard car, nowhere to go. He gets collected up into the wall. Another 2 to 3 car incident because of someone hitting the apron.
Replay then from Frankenfield. This is turn 3 and 4. He loses it down at turn number 3. There's a big difference there, though, between Frankenfield's incident and Garisi's incident. Frankenfield lost it on the entry to turn number 3, as we've got drivers on towards pit road as we speak. We'll talk about that one in just 1 second time. But there's a big difference there between Frankenfeld's incident and Garisi's incident. Frankenfeld on the entry to turn number 3, and then for Garisi on the exit of turn number 4.
Yeah, Grease's is, if I was Dennis Grease, I would be a lot more worried about that spin because that makes me really, really uneasy about my car, about my set. That tells me the car does not like the old tires at all. If we get a long green flag run, that number 9 machine is going to be very, very scary.
Back in a moment.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's worth taking stock then of the standings so far, and there you can see Michele Constantini leads away Henry Bennett. Henry Bennett, actually, we've got to give him credit because he started fourth, started on pole, had that miserable run, was fourth by the first caution, has now got himself back into P number 2.
Well done by him. Well done by Mr. Henry Bennett to get it slowly work his way back up the field. We haven't really talked about him since then. He's, that 41 machine, he started on pole and he got in that incident that shoved him way down the order. Been a quiet race for that 41 machine otherwise, which is impressive considering what's been happening in the mid-pack.
A quiet race at Iowa means a good race at Iowa. Unless you're outside the top 15.
Or unless you're Ty Majeski.
Yeah. We got Robert Grosser, actually. He wants to talk to us, so let's do that one here. Robert Grosser, hi, what's up, buddy?
Yo, I think I had a pretty terrible race.
Yeah, you're on pit road right now. Talk us through it in a moment's time, because we are about to go back to green flag racing. It is the driver of Michele Constantini, Henry Bennett, Andrew Aiken, TM Hauser. Green flag back in the air then as we head ourselves now towards the start. Once again, we are halfway this time by. However, we need to keep an eye out on the time because there's only 52 minutes remaining. Hauser, what a start by him.
He almost got the move done on Henry Bennett, but not quite. I think he lifted out of it, but he got a good jump, and he almost forced it 3 wide through 1 and 2 for the first time. At one car who'd got a terrible restart, Andrew Efimenko in that 77 machine, rolled off 6th. He actually only got shuffled back to 8th, but he's still getting passed by people. Dennis Garis just went around. I think Carson Brody might be able to get a move done too.
Number 6 machine, hard into the wall, caution out again. 26 car even, that's Andrew Aiken. Here's the replay. Hits toward a turn number 2, clips the front of the number 56 machine. Andrew Aiken out of this motor race. And he was P number 2 at the time.
He had a little damage going into that restart, Will, and I almost mentioned it, but I just thought it might be a little bit cosmetic damage. That front left wing was a little bit bent, so I think he had I don't think he was making the right amount of front downforce there because he got into turns 1 and 2 behind Michele Constantini, started to track out, and I think he just hit the bump. And when that happened, that car just simply did not rotate, clipped the wall. Unfortunate for the 26.
His replay from Andrei Efimenko as well. You can see he's eaten up alive as he pushes up the racetrack through turns number 1 and 2. $67 general car goes past him. 06 car will go past him as well. Number 9 Tarjay machine will try and go past him and just does so before the caution. You'll see the caution actually happening now just ahead of you. There's Andrew Aiken. I mean, luckily it stops everyone, but we are under caution once again. This is quickly, Randy, becoming a timed race.
It's borderline at the moment. We're going to need a huge train of yellows, I think, to be in that point where we can say it's definitely going to be a timed race. Because the thing is, wait a minute, we have an issue under yellow. The car facing the wrong way in 1 and 2. TM Hauser facing the wrong way right now down on the apron.
Let's have a look. TM Hauser
spun exiting pit road.
Let's have a look. I just saw it there. We're going to have a look on board of him.
That was really weird.
Did you like the tires?
I don't even think he did that. It didn't sound like he
lit the tires. He lit the tires. That was it. I mean, TM, why would you do that under caution, TM?
Well, on my screen, like, they don't even, like, I don't even hear the revs build until he's already spinning.
He did.
So
he did.
Well, yeah, that's not the proudest moment of TM Hauser's career, let's put it that way. Anyways, we should talk to Robert while we're under yellow.
Yeah, so Robert Grosser is here. Robert, what a day it's been for you here today.
Yeah, actually it started pretty well for myself. I qualified for the front row, had absolutely the pace to follow in the leading pack. Everything was nice and shiny until I hit the apron and had my first big crash, and after the fast repair I came back, was making my way through the field, had some really nice battles, the car was really nice, and then some cars spun in front of me and I got simply collected, so race over, which is really a shame.
Well, you had a kind of up and down-ish day at the Texas two-step. A bad day here today, of course, here at Iowa Speedway. Next on the championship, do you think you can get yourself back into championship mode?
This will be pretty tough because this is actually my second drop week right now after Sebring, and this means I really had to do well today to catch Lucas Laville, who is also not having his best day today. So yeah, that was really a big chance to close the gap in points, and now every single race must be big points for me to have a chance on the title.
Well, of course, lights are still on top of the pace car. Any advice for the drivers who are still running in this event in terms of strategy, track management, so on, so forth?
Yeah, I can only say every driver has to be patient, especially on the first 1 or 2 laps. The cold tires are really difficult to handle. Stay away from the apron and try to keep your nose clean until, let's say, the last 50 laps of the race. That would be the way to go. And now I of course cheer for my Vortex teammate Michele Costantini. Hope he will get the win.
They are estimating the laps here, Randy, interestingly, at 213 at the current rate of cautions we've had.
It's only 80 laps away. But the thing is to keep in mind, you know, as the field thins out, it gets more and more likely we get a long green flag run. 18-second laps will count down really, really quickly. We're still, it's borderline at the moment, but if we get a long enough green flag run, we should get this in under laps.
Very quickly, Robert, any shout-outs to sponsors, etc.?
Yeah, of course, Logical for being the title sponsor, and Joel Real Timing for providing the Clean Driver Award, and finally the Lionheart Retro Series.
Well, there we are then. Back to green flag racing this time by. Let's focus in on Michele Costantini for this restart. There you can see him. Number 66 machine. Alongside him, Henry Bennett, who's actually had a really good race, actually, Randy, since that first ever restart. Green flag back in the air.
Yeah, Henry Bennett's been doing a fantastic job out there as they come off of corner number 2, and Michele Costantini still fighting with Henry Bennett. Spinner off of corner number 2 down on the wall. This is down on the apron. We might stay green. Tim Hauser spins off of corner number 2, Will.
There is Tim Hauser then, so we get the back end of that. He is going once again.
Laville's got damage.
Laville's got damage. Let's have a look at Tim Hauser. This is in towards turn number 2. Let's rewind it a little bit further. There we are, on board with Tim Hauser. Loses it by himself. Yeah, again, an apron issue out of turn number 2. I feel like I'm back in Indy when I say that right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a weird race with the way people are pushing it on the apron. I mean, and especially the way Tim Hauser just did, Will. He did that so late. I have to say, what was... That was such an awkward line exiting corner number 2 there for Hauser. And now, bad news for him. He has all the race leaders bearing down about 3 seconds behind him.
And of course, even though blue flag rules aren't in operation, these guys will not want them getting back on the lead lap here. 45 minutes remaining in this motor race, or we've got ourselves just over 110 laps.
Trouble. 41 machine, as well as who was this? This is Dennis Grease coming off of corner number 4. They touch wheels as they came off the corner, coming onto the front straightaway, and the 41 machine gets sideways, clips the wall, and he saves it.
Yeah, indeed. So let's run on board then for Costantini for a few moments to give you RaceSpotTV fan immersion. Not much happening out front, but much happening behind that here, Randy. 141 of 250 laps going to be scored complete at the line. Side by side, Caton Bomber's batch with Luis Zambini.
Close fights up and down the field right now. This for 6th and 7th as they come up and off of corner number 4 and down your front straightaway. They're going to get single file. Luis Zambini, he has the spot for now, but what can Bomber's Badge do? Well, doesn't look like too much. They're going to get themselves relatively
Race
single
lead,
file.
Tony Schoen going to the point.
Well done by Schoen. We've seen him work the strategy all day. Will it finally starts to pay off? He starts to lead
Yellow.
laps, and we're back to yellow.
So Tony Schoen gets a race lead as we go
Patrick
back
Byrne
to
again.
yellow. Patrick Byrne involved in the incident. Replay coming up for you now.
And Lucas Laville, which is huge news for Robert Grosser, who we talked to a little bit ago.
That's going to help Robert Grosser quite a bit, actually. As we now have a look at, I want to go back and have a look at Tony Schoen getting that race lead, actually, because it was an important part of this motor race. Let's go on board with him. Inside line, turn number 3. Gets to it, and you can hear again the fact that that engine was right on the rev limiter. He gets himself the pass completed, in towards turn number 1 and 2, and they come. You can see the Constantine was getting ready to make the pass back. Yellow comes out.
It's probably somewhat frustrating for Constantini, but hey, if you're Tony Schoen, great way to get the lead. But then again, I think here, Will, I really think the favorite today has to be that number 66 of Michele Constantini. He's been the only one who can keep it consistently in those top 2 spots, only one who has the speed and consistency to stay up there and really had the strategy to keep himself in good track position all day. I think for that 66 machine, you don't want to get yourself too flustered that you maybe just lost this lead. Yeah, you might be keeping track of the time, seeing the time tick further and further down and wanting to get that lead because of it, but you still have a long way to go, and this race could still go to the end on laps here. I think even if you just come away with the 2nd place today, I think the 66 machine thus far have been the best car out there on the racetrack.
It has been indeed. Let's take a quick break. Back with more after this.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, Indycar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch, jam it. Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, sexy. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Through behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar. what's next.
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. Hit me. Inside, outside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Just over a lap to go here at Iowa Speedway before we're back to green flag racing. Randy, 100 laps to go at the line. However, so 100 laps to go when we go back to green flag racing is what I meant. But 38 minutes remaining in the motor race. Do we go to time mode or do we go keep it on lap mode for the time being?
If we're going to get it in on laps, we need a at least 50 to 60 lap run right here. We either need a long run and then a short run to the end, or we need a short run and then a long run to the end.
Doesn't really answer my question, does it?
Well, it's hard to say because I think within the time limit, green flag back in the air, by the way, and Tony showing your race leader, I think there's enough time that if we stay clean, I think we can get it to the end. But as I say that, does the spinner off at 2? And he's up near the racetrack. Does Louis Zambelli bring out a yellow? No, so we stay green. That might help us.
It does indeed. That's right, on board then with Louis Zambelli. Replay from him. Somehow just able to keep, again, turn number 1.
He actually
inside
didn't hit the
apron.
He actually hit the bump first, and that got him loose and upset that car, and then he clipped the apron. That was actually a little bit of a weird incident.
Here's the replay. Yeah, he hit 2 lots of the bumps there. Trying to hold the inside line, then caught the apron, then got himself down and spun himself around. Side by side, Dennis Carisi, Team Hauser, by the way. On board with Dennis Carisi. Team Hauser just on his left-hand side. Carisi can't make the pass. Still can't make his way past that. And here's Randy transfixed on the fact there's race cars going around a racetrack.
Yeah, just a little bit. As you know, Tony's showing trying to fend off Michelle Constantini and Andrei Efemenko. And that 77 machine, Will, he's pit somewhat recently, got shuffled back down the order. That 77 car, fantastic job by him to work his way through this field. Now fight for second with the 66, Michelle Constantini down your front straightaway. Into 1 and 2 they come. I think that 77 running that narrow line has to be the favorite at the moment, but Constantini going to have a huge set of steam as they come off the high side of corner number 2.
You see, I'm going to say Efemenko's got the favorite because he's been the only driver that's been able to hold that inside line day in, day out here at Iowa Speedway. You see there, Tony Sherham has actually had the biggest movement here today. So he's on the same strategy as Efemenko, Constantini, Team Hauser, Shoemaker right now. But Efemenko, once again, caution!
Oh, big incident off of 4. 3, 4, 5 cars involved.
Andrea Saunders involved. Replay. This is into turn 3 and 4 then. On board of Andrea Saunders for a moment, but let's have a look. Saunders loses it. Big wreck behind. 2, 3, 4 cars involved. 5 cars involved.
And again, Will, just another solo apron incident. That number 4 machine clips the apron, car goes around, and from there, everyone else is basically a passenger. Saunders, you know, nothing he can do. Everyone else really nowhere to go, considering they're up to full tilt at this point. Really just, you know, the unfortunate incidents that we've been seeing today.
We're going to have a look then for a moment with Andrea Saunders. But who's the other drivers involved? That's the number... Hopefully I can zoom in on this one, actually.
Tim Miller got a piece of it.
88 machine. Tim Miller also got a piece of it as well. So, number 18 machine, John Elmsheimer. Let's get a replay first with John Elmsheimer because he had the worst of the incidents. This is from the exit of turn number 2. Into 3. Oh, big hit there for Elmsheimer. Then he gets hit by the driver, Tim Miller. That's what causes the big incident. Tim Miller, let's have a look on board of him.
Oh, he actually got a secondary impact from
Tim Miller.
from who just yeah.
There we are. Tim Miller's out. Now, I do expect drivers on towards...
Yeah, we've had some.
Yeah.
Constantini came down, I believe. There's a couple others as well came down.
But if Nico doesn't, this is interesting.
Well, he had pit a little bit earlier, remember?
No,
and
he
shuffled
was
himself
on the
down
same.
order.
He was on the same strategy as Schoen, and Constantini. Now, Efrenico, Shoemake are 37 laps into a stint, and then Garisi, Bombers Batch, Bennett are about 14 laps into a stint. Josman de Ven, 37 laps into a stint. Carson Budway, 14 laps into a stint. Randy, that makes me worried going back to green.
It does. It's the thing is that everyone's playing like strat roulette at the moment because I still think we're just within the window, pushing it that we can get this race logged under green here. Figure going to be 90 laps to go, and they come across the stripe right here. Figure, and on top of that, little over 30 minutes left to go in this race. Through about roughly 1 minute per 3 laps. It's a little bit faster than that. When we go back to green flag racing, if they can keep it, if we can stay green, I think we can make it to the end on laps. But the question is, does it stay green? So how do you gamble, Will? Do you gamble that we're going to end under time, or do you gamble that the field has finally maybe thinned itself out enough and we're going to get a long 90 green flag lap to
right? If Mienko, Shoemaker, Garisi all have to pit,
right.
I would say they've actually lost out here. But if there's a caution in 40 laps time, it will come back to them.
Yeah, I think any yellows. This is big. I think the guys that are out front now that are on not a long fuel run, basically if you're out in front right now and we get cautions, I think you win the race.
Yeah, I can agree
Well, not
on that
necessarily win the race, because it's just every single caution is going to start taking in a more and more significant chunk, because how long is the caution? 5 minutes? We're 4 cautions away from there only being 10 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that we've still got ourselves, let's be honest, 13 drivers on the lead lap. Now, these aren't multi-car incidents. These are solo car incidents that we've seen here today. We've got Andrew Eder Saunders. He's here for an interview. We'll talk to him in a
How many yellows
moment's
have we had
time.
out of curiosity?
Pardon?
How many yellows?
I've not got that data.
I thought you did. You're the one with all that info.
More than a few. We've got 90 laps out of remaining. And Andrei Ifnienko leading the way. Number 77 machine. Randy Shoemake. Dennis Garisi. They are your top 3. It's time for RaceSpotTV fan immersion as we bring you back to green here at Iowa Speedway. We stay green, however. For the time being, at the very least, Shoemaker in second place, holding on actually to that second place from intense pressure by Caton Bommersbach and Dennis Garisi.
Yeah, these guys fighting really, really hard right now. Dentistry swings down to the inside, not able to get it done. Swings back up to the middle, working that progressive banking, trying to get a run on that number 67 of Bomber's back now, but still not able to get close enough. He lost too much time on the entry. I think it's Bomber's back. Fights with Shoemake for second. Meanwhile, the 77 Efemenko out to a huge lead, Will.
Yeah, as Kate to Bomber's back, you can just see there, going high, going low, going high, going low. As Caden Bomber's batch loses third place for the time being. But out front, it's 9/10 of a second now between Andrei Efemenko and Randy Shoemake. And that is the biggest gap we've had out front this entire race here.
Look at the way these guys started, Will, right behind Efemenko. I mean, Efemenko qualified 4th. Then you go down the rest of the top 5. Qualified 16th, 18th, 17th, and 10th. So the top 5, maybe not the quickest cars out there on the racetrack. And then you get Michel Constantini. He runs 6th. He qualified 3rd, and Henry Bennett, your pole sitter, sits 7th. Efemenko, I mean, if we stay green, Will, he is just gifted a huge gift with this slower traffic running for second right now, dividing Constantini and Henry Bennett, because these guys, they just don't have the speed of the 77 or anyone else that was running up front most of this race.
You know what I noticed, though? That Efemenko, even though he's 7/10 of a second ahead, he's still riding that ultra low line.
Oh, Bennett spins. Bennett spins
yellow.
on the wall. Yellow flag flies.
We yellow. Replay.
Hello, apron, my old friend.
It's time to meet turn 1 again.
I believe that's our 12th caution of the day, by the way.
Oh, big impact there for Henry Bennett. Yeah, he's out of the motor race. Andrew Saunders, by the way, is here with us on RaceSpotTV. Andrew, talk us through your motor race.
Well, first of all, I have to give thanks to Logitech and PlayStation for the products, and for once, one more special thanks to Trinity Motorsports teammate Marco Cooks for spotting this race. Well, I have to put my season into perspective. When you think your season cannot go worse, it just goes worse. I cannot get one clean race out of it. It starts where I get a black flag and a yellow because I was supposed to pass on the yellow. I didn't do that and lost a lap there. Don't get any luck on getting that lap back with a wave round. And then I get collected by one other guy by touching the apron because he touched the apron. And of course I'm the same idiot doing the same thing a few laps later. Well, that's my race, and it's very disappointing because I felt once to be as good as prepared as I could be, and this happens.
Next race, new start, new opportunities for you?
I hope so. In the road course, I don't expect to be that much more competitive, but let's see how it goes in Motorsport in 2 weeks' time. But I have to give a comment on the race regarding the number of yellows. Unfortunately, that was kind of expected, but I was expecting it more because of the pack racing style racing, not necessarily on the apron.
Well, thank you very much there, Andrew Saunders. We're going to step aside for 1 minute here on RaceSpotTV. Back with more after this.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, watch him, watch him, damn it! Get ready. Dude, blow heads up in that! Jeez!
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
Alright, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Through behind you. Intel. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
Indycar.
The in and out lap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. He hit me. inside, outside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Welcome back here to RaceSpotTV, iRacing Live. 76 laps remaining. However, more pertinent at this stage of the motor race is how many minutes are remaining. And there's only 22 minutes remaining in this motor race. Shoemake from Schoen, from Constantini. Green flag back in the air this time by. Here we go once again, Randy.
Brady Shoemaker getting out there in the race lead, but the fourth place starter, who is that in fourth? Kingston Bombers batch. Fantastic start. Car in the wall though, down to 1 and 2, and surely going to be back to yellow. No, Grease keeps it down on the apron. 9 Machine in the wall. That's going to be his race done.
Replay on board then with Dennis Carisi. Up to speed.
That car just snapped.
Snapped hot. Yeah, snapped. That was the loosest I've seen a car here all day. You know what? I think he probably got his weight jacket wrong.
I think you're right. I mean, that's the second time we've seen that 9 Machine struggle with loose. Saw him spin off of quarter number 4 earlier on in this event. That 9 Machine, I don't think set up quite ideally here today, Will. Really struggling. But the good news is we stay green, which means more laps get run. Randy Shoemake leads from Michelle Constantini, Bombers Batch Schoen, and Efemenko.
On board with Caton Bombers Batch right now. Let's listen in. Trouble on the racetrack! Yellow certainly going to come out here!
Oh, big
Bombers
secondary
Batch
incident.
And Shoden. Take us through it right here, Randy.
Well, there were almost 3 wide going into corner number 3, and Tony Schoen, I don't think he had gotten the call from his spotter that he's going to be 3 wide. He took that groove as if they were going to be 2 wide. He clipped the 67 car of Bombers Match there as he went into 3, and that sent him up into the wall. Then after that, someone coming with a huge head of steam into 3 and 4. This is Emsweiler again. I think this is the second time we may have seen this from him in the 88 Machine. Just completely T-boned him. Huge incident for both those drivers. I think both of them are race ending.
Yeah, that's on number 88 Machine, John Elmsweimer there. You can see the secondary incident. We'll just show you that on our stop motion camera. Let's have a look then on board with the number 88 Machine. Show you what happened in terms of him. John Elmsweimer will go on board. I think it's clear to say one thing right now here, Randy, as we have a look on Michelle Constantini, your race leader. We have got ourselves a total of 70 laps to go. Now, I'm going to have to get my Apple Watch to figure out where my phone is.
Siri, can they finish this race under green?
I'm going to get the calculator out. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to get the calculator out right now. A lap here is 18 seconds, and so I'm going to call that 0.3 of a minute times times 70 times 0.3. That costs me 21 minutes if we stay green the entire way.
There's
We've got
no way, because
19
we're already,
minutes.
yeah, there's no way. This is a timed event. So we're going to end, if it stays green, we'll end 246, 247, somewhere in that
Yeah.
ball. Actually, no, because we're not even back. We haven't even gotten one to go, so it'll be more like 242. Because cautions take off, what, about a minute? Yeah, cautions are about a minute every time around here, so...
For these guys, it makes this race very difficult because at Iowa, you do try and set up a pass at the end of the motor race. Now you've got to kind of guess it.
The thing is, Will, is that I think the deeper and deeper in we go, it gets more and more difficult to judge how much fuel you need as well, because, you know, you only need fuel for... If we stay green from here, it's not going to be a huge shakeup because you're only going to end maybe 5 or 6 laps early. But if we get 1 or 2 more cautions, then you're talking about ending 15, 20, 25 laps early potentially. And for these guys, you know, especially for those that aren't used to doing the road racing where the timed racing really comes into effect, it's going to be really difficult for these guys to maybe predict when that white flag is going to come out. And specifically, if you do need to come down pit road one more time, how much fuel you're going to need to take.
Well, the biggest losers right now are Michelle Constantini and Caton Bommersbach if the race goes green from here to the end. Because they will need to come on towards pit road, I would think, to get themselves some more fuel. That would mean that Andrei Efimchenko, and again, Efimchenko has had this crazy race here today. He's been the driver that's gone ultra low line the entire way, but somehow survived. He's basically taken the... I'm trying to figure out who I'm thinking about right now.
You're talking about the 77 of Efimchenko?
Yeah, I'm talking about him. I'm trying to figure out the real life version of him. Come back to me.
Speedy Gonzalez?
No. Oh, come on. I'm not that stupid. You talk for a minute.
Okay, so we're under caution, and Will is probably searching on Google, trying to figure out who he's talking about. Lights go out, so the pressure is on for Will to try to get his Google search complete so he can figure out who it is he's talking about. But lights go out, and let's run down your field as they currently sit. Currently 10 cars on the racetrack. Top 10 as they run, which is the entire field. Michelle Constantini and Andrei Efimchenko. Took you that long to remember Carlos Munoz? I was right, it was Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, pretty much. But, I mean, he's basically been running the Carlos Munoz line around this racetrack. If you're going to call him, you know, make the comparison to the Indy 500. But, Efimchenko then, second place. Let's run on board of him for this restart. 67 laps remaining here on RaceSpotTV. He's got Constantini going to start ahead of him. Pace car's going to pull in. Constantini has control of the field. Here we go then. Green flag back in the air once again. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4 drivers wanting to go past. That's the number 78 machine there. Oh, Carsten Bodaway trying to go past right now. Caution out again. Replay.
Again, the apron.
Here we are. He got way out the throttle. And I think because he got way out the throttle, that made the incident with the apron even harder for him.
Yeah, that one was a little weird because his initial trajectory, I don't think he would have gotten down there. But I think you're right. The way he lifted out of the throttle, I think he got just a little bit loose, and then he caught the bump. That bumpy hit really kind of threw him down there. I don't think he had any intention of, you know, going anywhere that far down there. It's just he hit that bump, and that car just basically jumped about half a groove, or basically a tires width down on the inside, and that was just enough to allow him to clip the apron. So unfortunately, incident there for the 06.
You are completely right. Here's the replay. He saves it, but we're back under yellow, and we'll be back in a minute.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, Indycar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him. Jam it. Get ready. Dude, more heads up in that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, sexy. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Through behind you. Toe. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar.
In and out lap.
What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. Hit me. Inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Still under yellow with 61 laps remaining here in terms of laps, but we've been keeping an eye on this. We've only got 11 minutes 20 seconds remaining in terms of this race here, Randy. So, pace car will come on towards pit road. Caton Bomber's batch leads away from Michelle Constantini. Time for RaceSpotTV fan immersion. Here we go. Car turn around. Both just, and that's Andrea from Ninko as well. One of our people that we thought could have won this motor race. I bet you Indycar is going to blame that on a restart right now. But interestingly enough, the way he's come back out onto track, he's only about 4 seconds ahead of your race leaders right now. Apologies for the sound issues we just had there, but you can see what a restart we have just had there. We've had 2 drivers off. That includes the driver of Andrei Ifemenko right now, as we're down to less than 10 minutes of this motor race to go. Caden Bommersbach going for the race lead right now, in towards turn 3 and 4. Will he get it? He does on the line at the very least, but Michele Constantini is there as well. He won his first ever race at Texas Motor Speedway a few weeks ago. He's looking to go back to back, so to say, but down the inside, 3 wide, in towards turn number 3. That is Tim Hauser. He moves himself to the race lead, in towards turn number 1.
Fantastic move by the 56, slotting himself into the middle of the racetrack and making it work. 56 machine gets the shoulders wide, and he gets that race lead, and he's going to get clear as he comes off the corner number 4. He knew now your new race leader, Michele Constantini, though, going to try to fight back on the top side, and will. The 56 of Hauser, we've talked about the 77 all day being able to work the bottom. The only car that's been about as good as that 77 working that tight inside groove is the 56, and he's got the race lead with a spinner off of 4. Is this going to bring out a yellow? Kemp Bommersbach rolling backwards down the front straightaway. Is this going to bring out a caution? Yes, it does.
Still got a yellow.
He hits the wall.
He just clips the wall there at the very end of his spin. Caden Bommersbach, and well, let's make this a 2-minute shootout now here at Iowa Speedway. Caden Bommersbach spins, loses that race car. What a race we've had here, Randy.
This has been so up and down. I mean, the middle of the race has been, somewhat not great with all the cautions, but the end of this race is proving to potentially be absolutely fantastic. Be interesting to see if anyone comes down on a pit lane here, and I think there's a couple people that are fair shakes for doing that.
There's no Team Dolan in this race.
Well, Bommersbach is, of course, going to come down for repairs. His race is done. But I think a fantastic candidate is Andrei Ifemenko. Burn as much fuel as you can under this caution. Get fresh tires, because he's running 10th anyways after that spin. He's at the end of the line as it is. Get fresh tires, sling that thing out there, and push as hard as you can to try to run through this field in just a handful of laps. We're only going to have about 4 minutes left when we go back to green. Probably going to be looking at about a 220-lap run today.
Yeah, there's Caden Bommersbach. You can see that he pretty much reversed down the entirety of the Legends Oval, then just clipped the rear wing as he came on the exit of the Legends Oval towards turn number 1 of the actual Iowa Speedway Oval. Well, 6 minutes remaining in this motor race. We can now confirm, with 49 laps remaining, that this race will finish under time, not under laps.
You just figured that out?
I feel like the BBC when we talked about the election results. We can now confirm that something has happened.
You should work for Fox News.
Do you remember the colour of my skin? I never worked for Fox News. That's all I'm going to say. Tim Hauser, Michele Constantini, Henry Bennett, Tony Sherwin, they are your top 4 right now. We're going to have 2 minutes when we go back to green flag racing here, Andy.
I'm too busy laughing about that. All you need to worry about, though, Will, is whether or not you have your birth certificate sorted, and then you'll be fine.
True story. I'm not from Hawaii. It's okay.
Fair enough. Well, Hawaii's a state. You'd be fine being from Hawaii.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I'm trying to keep an eye out on drivers coming on towards pit road. Of course, Bommersbach has come on towards pit road. We thought that Andrei Ifemenko was going to come on towards pit road. He hasn't yet.
Well, it was a hunch that he might have came down pit road. He chose not to, but I thought that if I were in his position that deep in the field, I think I would have, but
no.
Yep, but no.
Well, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, next weekend here on Sunday Night Prime Time, we head ourselves over to Phillip Island for the second round of the 10th season of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup. It is the fastest track they will go to all season long. And well, Skippies at Phillip Island, we know, Randy, means pandemonium.
Yeah, Phillip Island has been one of those tracks on the iRacing service that, it doesn't get used so much in real life. It's mostly used as a motorcycle track, and the V8 Supercars go there once a year. But a lot of fantastic series have used that on the iRacing service. It's been, one of the prime spots for a while for the WC GPS. Really been a fantastic racetrack here on the sim.
It's also my second favorite track on iRacing after Zandvoort. Mainly because of the fact
must not like good racing.
No, it's mainly because of the fact that I could go within 0.3 of a second of pole position for the WCS.
That's fair enough.
It's that one track that I can really deal with. It's like Zandvoort is a very difficult track, but Phillip Island is a track that's really suited to me. And for these guys here today, of course, they got tracks that are, and then tracks that are not suited to them. Of course, they're going to Mosport in a couple of weeks' time. The last race that's not broadcasted on RaceSpotTV before we bring the season home. The lights are out on top of the pace car.
It's going to be an interesting one. We're going to have, it was
3 minutes.
3.5 minutes at the line, so we're going to have 2.5 minutes when we go green, because each caution period each caution lap, roughly a minute. So 2.5 minutes, 18 seconds per lap. That's about 11 laps to go.
I've not got time to do that, but I think it's going to be about 11 laps, to be honest, here as Tim Housen versus Michele Constantini at the front row. Any caution from now will mean basically the race is over. Pace car on towards pit road. Let's record this because it's going to go on the RaceSpotTV Facebook page. Here we go then. RaceSpotTV. Classic IndyCar Series. Green flag back in the air. One more time. 4 wide as they try and come in towards turn number 1. As well, Randy, Tim Houser gets a better run over Michele Constantini.
But Constantini gets to the inside. Will he be able to cut off the 56 machine in 3 and 4? Yes, he does. And we know the 56 machine needs to have the bottom.
Oh!
Hauser in the wall in the 56, and people in the middle of the field get a piece of that. 3, 4, 5, 6 cars involved. No caution yet as Hauser's upside down in the infield.
We stay green for the time being. Michele Constantini leads the way in this motor race. Here we are then with 1 minute 42 seconds remaining. Constantini from Tony Schoen, and you better in third, Randy Shoemaker in fourth. But now, if you're one of those drivers that have just seen the incident we saw, are you going to try and go ultra offensive? Well, Tony Schoen immediately is, as they work themselves now through turn number 1. Once again, Schoen in second place.
Top 3 really tight. Constantini, Schoen, and Bennett. As they come off corner number 2 down the back straightaway, Schoen had the run, but he tried to duck to the inside, and that cut off his momentum a little bit. Constantini now runs out wide, and he has the bottom held. I think the 33 is a little bit quicker than the 66 will. Will he be able to get the position? Works the undercut off for 2. Does he get there? Yes, he does. Fantastic move by the 33 to get to the inside of Constantini.
Less than 1 minute to go in this motor race. That would equate to about 4 laps of racing, as here comes Tony Schoen then. He leads the motor race. Michele Constantini in second. Henry Bennett in third right now. Let's ride on board of Henry Bennett as he tries to work himself through turn number 3 and 4. Let's keep an eye out. There'll be 2 laps to go at the line here, Randy.
Very tight in terms of time. There were over 30 seconds left at the line. We might just get 2 to go. We're gonna have to do this one by feel. It shows showing fighting with the 66 for
white
track
flag
position down into 3 and 4. This should be white flag in the air.
So here we are, white flag in the air this time by. It's a 3-horse race. Tony Schoen, Michele Constantini, and Henry Bennett as they work themselves through turns number 1 and 2. Schoen looks as though he may well have this as they work themselves through now through turn number 3 and 4. Confirmation, checkered flag, this time by. Schoen wins, Constantini second, Henry Bennett in the third place with Randy Shoemaker in fourth. and then Luis Zambini rounding out your top 5. But Tony Schoen wins out here today. Tony Schoen wins the Classic IndyCar Series here at Iowa Speedway as the fireworks will go off here. What a win by Tony Schoen. He's done an absolutely faultless race here today.
He really has. He got himself in the right place at the right time, and really will that pass he put on the 66 at Constantini coming out of 2. He had, I think, that one opportunity to get around the 66 and then defend coming off of 4, and he made it work. Tony Schoen earned this one today.
Tony Schoen wins this motor race. There is a look at your final race results. Schoen wins by about 16/100ths of a second over Michele Constantini. Henry Bennett in 3rd, Randy Shoemaker in 4th, and Luis Zambini running out your top 5. But this race has been an up and down one. You can't really call it by the gaps we had because we only had about ourselves 6 laps at the end of this one. This race, Randy, has been a race, yes, of attrition, but also how you can manage your race car.
It really is. I mean, everyone working tires, working with fuel, and really, once these guys knew that this is going to be a caution-filled race, you kind of had to sort of guesstimate and adjust where you thought you're going to be racing to. Because, when we went green, everyone's okay. We're running to lap 250. Okay, maybe it's going to be 240, 230. At the end of the day, we only did about 215. I think it was 214 laps is what we ended on. Yes, it was 214 laps that we did under green flag conditions today. And so for that reason, all these drivers were constantly working themselves at a moving target, trying to get this race done in the fastest way possible.
Luis Zambini, by the way, has himself the fastest lap in the motor race. That's on lap number 178 here today, as there are other results coming up for you. We'll be back in a few moments here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live to talk about what just happened here at Iowa Speedway.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
The NASCAR Beginner for Series powered by iRacing is the premier NASCAR eSports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time NASCAR World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign, and as it has been for the 7 years prior, It is no longer going to be a straight shot to the championship. We are going to see the biggest change in this championship picture in series history, as for the first time ever, there will be a chase for the championship. We're going to go into the Homestead Miami Speedway at the end of the season with the 4 best oval sim racing drivers in the world absolutely tied in the championship. You just got to beat the other 3 guys out and you will become an official NASCAR champion. You're going to get yourself a NASCAR championship ring and, of course, $10,000. These are the iRacing Esport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. You can catch it all season long, live coverage on iRacing.com/live.
Introducing.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our post-race coverage here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live, presented by Logical Innovative Engineering, the title sponsor of the Classic Indycar Series. And well, Randy, we're talking about this affair a little bit, and I have to say, I enjoyed that race.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that too. Yeah, that race was good. There's like a middle portion of about 80 to 90 laps that honestly was sort of, you could just fast forward through. But the start was really good and the end was really, really good. Luckily, we didn't get a yellow with that incident with the 56. Otherwise, rip.
But Luis Zambini wins his 2nd race in the Classic IndyCar Series. And of course, he won his 1st race at Texas Motor Speedway just a few weeks ago. Now, I always say when you have the double-step races, the 2-step races, it's still back-to-back. So Luis Zambini going back-to-back here, winning 2 outs here in the Classic IndyCar Series.
Yeah, well done by the 23.
Yeah. He's not here, though, is he?
Well, Tony Schoen won the race, so I'm actually a little confused what you're on about.
My live time scoring is just falling apart, that's why.
I was like, what, did he? I was really confused. I think Tony was equally confused.
I think he was.
Talk to Tony.
My timing scoring is literally falling apart. It's showing.
You know what, Tony? We're gonna call you Luis for the purposes of this.
Okay. No. Let's start this entire. Let's start this entire thing again, shall we?
Look on the bright side, Will. This isn't the biggest flub you've ever had on here.
It's not. It's not. 1 minute. So, we've got a winner here in the Classic IndyCar Series, and it is Tony Schoen who wins out here in the Classic IndyCar Series. Here today, he stood by with Randy Chenoweth.
Tony, what a run it was for you today. Qualified 10th, finished at 1st. How was that 33 machine today hooked up?
It was really fast, except for the restarts were just completely horrible. It was like starting on ice with fresh tires. I only changed tires once in the whole race. I kept old tires on because it was so bad. And then I think my setup was not the greatest for the bumps in turn 1 and 2, because I would even with warm tires, I spun out twice over there. So it was a tough weather and tough setup tonight.
Well, the tires being like ice would certainly be explained, I think, mostly by the cold weather. Will and I talked about that at the top of the show. As the race went on, we really didn't get to talk about the tires too much because the runs were so short. But regardless, that 33 machine, Tony, coming towards the end of this race, you had, I would estimate, one opportunity to get around the 66 of Michele Constantini and snag yourself that race win. And that was coming off of corner number 2 when you worked that undercut, slaughtered yourself up the inside, and took the race lead. If that didn't stick, do you think you'd ever had another opportunity to get around him before the checkers?
Not before the checkers. That was the only move, basically. If there was a longer green run, I probably could have. I was able to pass a few guys on the outside, but otherwise, yeah, that was the only move left with just a few laps.
Now, talking about this apron here today, we saw a lot of yellows, and I'm curious for you, because you said you had some trouble here today. How easy is it to clip that apron in turns 1 and 2, and then of course 3 and 4 as well? Bulk of the incidents we saw today, I think of like the 15 yellows we had, I think 12 or 13 of them were for people clipping the apron. How easy of a mistake is that to make?
Yeah, it was a pretty easy mistake. That was one thing I kept my eye on in practice, was just staying away from that yellow line. Don't even get anywhere close to it. Even down low, if you don't hit that line, the bump down there in turn 1 and 2 is pretty heavy. So, yeah, I just made it a point to stay away from there.
Thanks for joining us, Tony. Congratulations on the big win here today. Before we let you go, any shout-outs? Who would you like to thank?
Just Robert and Lucas. I came in midway through the season, and they were gracious enough to let me in the league, and I've enjoyed myself so far. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us, Tony. Will, back to you. Who are you stood by?
I'm not stood by anyone. I'm kind of in a hole right now and apologizing because, of course, Tony showing... I will send a screenshot. In fact, I'm going to print a screenshot of this race right now. It shows Louis Zambini as winning this motor race. And Randy, you know the way that us commentators work. We look on the information that we have in front of us. We go to commercial. We talk our stuff. And then we come back, and then we talk about the people that we see at the top of the timing screen. I messed up. I do apologise. Louis Zambini did not win this winter race today. But we've got Ken Bomber's batch here. And he stood by in a position, which I can now say...
P6.
Is P6.
I'll be your live timing, babe.
Go. Talk to him.
Oh, I thought you were interviewing.
No, you're talking to him.
Caden in the 67, coming home in 6th from 18th on the grid. Everything is falling apart in the RaceSpot booth. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I honestly, about 2 hours before race time, I wasn't sure if I was even going to run this race because I didn't have much of a setup. I just couldn't hit the setup every time I went and tested. It just wasn't working for me, and so I almost didn't race out of fear of being a rolling chicane. But I worked at it, and I made one big swing after qualifying just to, try to get it turned a little bit better, and it worked. And I was able to work my way up through the field. I didn't have the same type of stuff that Tony or Michelle had, but I still had a pretty good car, and I'm happy with 6. It ties my best finish ever in this league. The aforementioned Louis Zambini. I had a good battle with him right at the end, and he just pipped me for 5th place, but I'm happy with how I finished, given the dire situation all the way through qualifying.
Now, talking about that, of the top 6, the final 3 of you in 4th, 5th, and 6th, Randy Shoemake, Louis Zambini, and Ken Bommersback, all actually started just right along each other, 16th, 20th, and 18th, so it was 8, 9, and 10, the outside starters. What was it about this race that allowed you 3 in particular to work your way up through this field? Did you just not qualify well, or what was it about that today?
Well, having raced with those guys on ovals a little bit before, I know they're both pretty crafty racers, and I'd like to consider myself that as well. But we kept our noses clean, and we had good pace in the race. Just kind of used our savvy to help get us up to the front. And we were there at the end. Qualifying isn't everything.
Well, congrats on the strong run today, Caden, in that number 67, coming away with another P6. Where are we going to see you run next time, and who would you like to thank for your strong run here today?
I'll be at Motorsport in 2 weeks. I'm hoping to run every race this season. This was the one I was worried about due to my lack of setup, but I just want to thank Robert and Lucas for running this league. It's a highly competitive league, and I have a lot of fun running it. And I also want to thank Will Roberts, Stephen Larkamp, and Tim Silliman. Those guys have helped me become a better racer over the last year, and I don't think I'd be running quite as well here if it weren't for the help that those guys have given me.
Thanks again for joining us, Caden. Good luck to you out at Mosport.
Thank you.
And you're going to laugh at me because my timing scoring situation's got even worse. But we do know that Ronnie Shoemaker's here, and I do know that he came home. Is that right? In P number 4 here today?
Yes.
Indeed, he did.
You finally did something right.
Yes, Ronnie Shoemaker, you coming home P number 4. How was your race here today, buddy?
It was good as I could have hoped for, Will. Thank you. P4 was a good finish.
Well, I do apologise for getting things wrong in terms of broadcast itself, but that 06 machine was involved in the wars at the start of this motor race. How have you been able to get yourself through the wars up into P4? Talk us through your race itself.
I didn't come in early. I think I went from 16th to 1st as everyone else took new tires and fuel at one point. Found out that for at least the first few, several laps, that was competitive. I think I, dropped back to 6th or 7th and probably had that's probably where I should have finished. It just it worked out. I got very good restarts through turns 1 and 2 where a lot of people had to lift. I felt like I could go and make some moves, but I had nothing for the front group.
How scary was turn 1 and 2 on those restarts? Because you talk about you being able to go for it, but other drivers really did seem to lift off.
Yes, I mean, Robert warned us in the beginning, before race time, that some of the guys would have to lift it. You could lose the traction there. I tried and practiced some starts during the practice session, and spun the car on restarts. So I was fortunate to never done that. Did cause one of the yellows clipping the apron, but for the most part, I had very good restarts, and it paid off.
I mean, the good news is next time out we go to a road course at Mosport. Mosport, though, is a track, again, where the car can sometimes get a little bit loose as it bottoms out. Are you worried, scared, happy, excited going into Mosport?
I like to race at Mosport. I've got to thank Tim Miller today for giving me the setup that I used today. It was full tanks. It was 3 to 5 tenths faster than anything that I had been able to come up with. So if he can work with me again and get me prepared for Mosport, it would be appreciated. But I look forward to it. I enjoy Mosport.
Well, Randy, you talked about Tim Miller. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to today?
Let's all say a prayer for Tony Lamberti. Usually racing the Lotuses. I'm going to go see him this afternoon. As you all know, he is in rehab and for a stroke, and we need to keep him in our hearts and prayers.
I can agree with that one there. Randy Shoemaker coming home in 4th place here today, and I think that's a really nice point to talk about there, Randy. How close not only IndyCar community is, but also how close the iRacing community is. And of course, we offer our thoughts and prayers, but we also remember just how close this iRacing community really is.
That's so kind of you. Yes, he's a very special person. He's been a big help at the iRacing seminars on the iRace for Life seminars that we've had in Dallas the past 4 or 5 years, and he's offered every possible assistance that I could have ever asked for here, and so we need him to get well and get back into racing.
Indeed so, indeed so. Thank you very much there to Randy Shoemaker, and can I come back now to Randy Cheneth? Well, race over here at Iowa Speedway, and before we go any further, let's talk about then. I mean, again, I want to talk about that, the closeness of the IndyCar community. I mean, you and I, we spend a lot of time taking the balonies out of each other. I think that's the way I could say that, Randy, here on this broadcast. But
yeah, you're a little less than ideal broadcast partner.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've got to remember that we are a community, and we love this community, don't we?
Yeah, we really do. I mean, the iRace for Life people are great. Sometimes we get hot-headed and mad at each other, but usually we put it all behind ourselves, and hopefully all is pretty much forgotten and forgiven at the end of the day. And more often than not in the iRacing community, it tends to be. So always good to see. The one thing we'll never let someone down on, party at Salma's never happened.
Not yet. But thank you so much for being a part of our broadcast here this evening. This has been RaceSpotTV. Wolverhampton, Randy Cheneth. We'll talk to you all next time. Good night.